So we are going to start with the binding. So for the binding, we are going to use 2 pieces of chipboard that are 9.5 by 8 inches and 1 piece that is 9.5 by 3 inches. And you will have all of this information on the cutting guide PDF. And if you are making both the boy and the girl, the binding will be exactly the same. So you will just need to make 2. And so what I'm gonna do is use my my cardstock. This is the 65 pound, which is the thin one, and I'm going to join 2 pieces together. I'm gonna use my double-sided tape for that. Let's just get that out, and I'm going to just add my tape just like this on one side, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and then we're going to peel a little bit of the tape. This is something that I do a lot because it just makes my life so much easier. We're gonna put that to the side like that, and we're going to make sure this paper is lined up on the bottom just like here, and then we're gonna press down on the sticky side and remove the tape. So now we have that piece, and then we have our chipboard. We're going to add double-sided tape on each piece here as well. So now we're going to remove the tape on the center piece, the spine, and we're going to place this one on the center of the connection on the cardstock right there. So I'm going to center this up and down as well, and we're just going to place it like that. Okay, then we're going to do each one of the sides as well. So I'm going to take off this tape. There we go. So now we're going to add this side, and we're going to leave a little bit of space in between these 2 pieces. If you don't know how much space you need to leave out, grab one of your scrap pieces of chipboard that you have left over and just place it right there, and that will kind of give you an idea of how large the separation needs to be. And now I'm just going to place mine right there. Also make sure that it lines up here on the bottom. A good tip is to use a ruler and just place it right there. That way you know exactly how to place them down. And I'm gonna do the same with the other piece. I typically just eyeball that little space. Okay, and there you go. So that's how we place our pieces down. Then I'm going to cut the corners. Now you always want to leave just a little bit of space between your chipboard and the cut, almost the same space that you are leaving in between these 2 pieces. So I'm just going to cut these like that, and now I'm going to do all the sides like this. There's a crafty tool that I got recently and I really love. It's this right angle, and you place it right there, and then you can use either your knife or you can pencil mark where you want to cut your cardstock like that. And then that was also a good guide on how you need to cut it. And so yeah, so there's options, and I think I have shared with you guys where I got that little tool, but if you want to know, just send me an email and I can send you a link for that as well. So I'm going to now bend my cardstock. You already know this step if you have been following my tutorials. You know I like to massage the cardstock a little bit before completely bending down. That way it's not going to crack or anything like that. And I've never had problems with my cardstock cracking. I use so many different brands and I never had a problem with any of them. So I think it's just a matter of making the paper feel safe and comfortable to bend. So just massage your cardstock, and then once you're done, then you can go ahead and use your tools and press this down just like that. And so now I'm going to also add my tape all along the side like this. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then I'm going to remove the tape and just press this down. Okay, then I'm going to do the other side. Same thing, I'm gonna start just bending the paper a little bit and then slowly making that little U bend and pressing down on it like that. Okay, and there you go. And I'm going to add my tape just like this. Okay, and then now we're gonna take off the tape and just press your cardstock down just like that, and then make sure that there's no air bubbles anywhere. So use your little crafty tools, and there you go. So now we're gonna do the sides. So for the sides, again, we're gonna do the same thing. This is a little bit too big. I like to keep just about an inch on the sides, so I'm going to take some of that out and maybe a little bit here too. Okay, and it doesn't have to be even or straight, as you can see. So again, I'm just gonna fold this slowly, massaging, and then you want to help these little corners bend. Okay, and then we're going to slowly press down on this cardstock. And now I'm just going to give it a good press. Now make sure you're not getting all these pointy corners. If you do, you can come back and just tuck the corner a little bit more inside like this. And now we're gonna add our tape just like that, and we're just going to glue this down. Press down on that, and there you go. So now we have one more side to do. For this, we're just gonna do the same. We're going to fold along your cardstock first, then you're gonna tuck these little corners in, and there you go. I'm gonna press down, make sure it's not pointy, and there you go. And now we're gonna add the tape just like that, and take off this tape and press this down. Okay, so once we're done covering all the sides, as you can see, we're going to mark our bending lines. Don't just fold it, because then this could possibly bubble up. So I'm just gonna use my leftover piece of chipboard here and just line that up, and you give this a little bend with your tool just like this, and then you're gonna help these fold, and do the same on this side, 1 and 2. And now we're gonna fold. And there you go. So now we are done. So now we're gonna work on the hinges. For that, I'm going to use the 12 by 12 sheets also. You're only gonna need one. I'm doing 2 hinges, so I'm cutting 2 pieces. So you are going to cut these at 8 3/4. So now we're going to score along the 12-inch side. We're going to start at 2 inches. And then we're going to score at 2.5, 3 1/4, 4 inches, 4.5, 5 1/4, 6 inches, 6.5, 7 1/4, 8 inches, 8.5, and 9 1/4, and 10 inches. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is we're going to fold along the score lines, and each one of the 3/4 inches are going to be joined together like this. So we're just going to pinch the 2 3/4 inch pieces together, and we're gonna form this hinge like this. Okay, so I'm going to join those two, then I'm going to skip the 1/2 inch and join the next 2 together like that, and then we're going to skip and join the next 2, and same thing, we're gonna skip the 1/2 inch and join the next 2. Okay, so now that you have your hinges formed, go ahead and fold using your tool. That way it's more marked. So I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to turn it to the other side and fold. Same thing for this one. So it's easier to just put them all together and fold them all down at the same time. Just like that. And then place them all to the other direction and fold down like that. Okay, so now we're gonna open this up and we're gonna join the hinges together. So for that, I'm going to use my tape. We're going to place the tape on one of the sides of the hinge. You can also use your glue if you like. So I'm gonna place one here too, one on the next one, and one more on the last one. Okay, and then we're just going to take off the tapes and join your hinge together. Same thing, take off the tape and join together, and take out the tape and join together, and then you're pressing down each one you are putting two together. And now we have the last one here, and I'm just gonna press down on this really good. And if you're making both the boy and the girl albums, you will repeat this step 2 times. So I'm going to now stand up my hinges, and that's how this looks. So what we're gonna do before we add this into our book is add double-sided tape. So we're gonna do the tape on the outside edge or of each one of the hinges. Press down. So you want your tape closest to this outside, and you want to leave this space clear. And when we add the page, we're only going to add it on top of the tape. We're not going to go all the way down to the spine, because this little extra piece is going to help us open our pages a little bit more flat. So I'm going to do both sides of each one of the hinges. So now we're going to add the hinges into the book. So we're going to open the book up, and we are going to use this score line that we have as a guide. So one of the sides will have a score line, and we are going to line up that score line with the first side right here, and that's how we're going to place it. We're also going to make sure that it is centered up and down on the book here. So to add these, I'm going to be using my glue. I just think it's a lot easier to do with the glue, and the glue holds really good, and also is a lot faster. And by using the glue, you have a little bit of time of wiggle room, so you can adjust and fix just in case you put it a little bit of center or anything like that. So I am adding quite a lot of glue here. Okay, and this glue dries super fast, so let's go ahead and add this down right now. So like I said, we're going to line up the score line on the first bending line. Okay, so just like that, and you will see the line on the top and the bottom, and you can use that as a guide. So now I'm just going to press down and make sure there's no air bubbles, anything like that. I'm also going to press in between each one of my hinges. Okay, and you will see that you have a little bit more room of gusset towards the back. So you probably have about a 3/4 inch compared to the 1/2 inch sections here, and that is because what we're going to build on the inside back cover is going to need that extra bit of gussets. Okay, so before we finish this up, we are going to go ahead and mark on your bending lines again. So we're going to use that little piece of chipboard that we had left over, and we're just going to use this as a ruler, and I'm going to feel with my tool here where is that little gap, the little bending line, and then we're just going to score. Make sure you do this very gently. You don't want to break your cardstock, so it's better to do 2 or 3 times really soft than to kind of accidentally punch a hole in there, which I have done a few times. Okay, so now we're gonna do the same on the back. Like I said, this gusset's gonna be larger than the other side, and that's okay. That's what we need. I'm just gonna score these again, and then we are simply going to bend each one of the sides now, just like that. So now we have the binder and the hinges done, and let's go ahead and work on the base pages. So now we're going to work on the base pages. So each album is going to have 4 base pages. If you're making the boy and the girl, you're going to need 8 of these pieces. And so I'm going to cut my 110-pound cardstock now. This is the one that we're using, and we're going to cut these at 7.5 by 9. So this measures 8.5 by 11. So make sure that your 9 is going to be along the long side right there. So the first cut is going to be 7.5, and then I'm going to turn this around and do 9 inches. And again, we're gonna need 4 of this size, or 8 if you're making 2 albums. And then we're going to need another page of 7.5 by 10 inches. Okay, so those are the 2 sizes that you're gonna need. So you're gonna need 4 of each or 8 of each. So now we're going to use the larger size, the one that is 7.5 by 10, and we're going to score along 10 inches at 1/2 inch and at 9.5. Okay, then we're going to fold along the score lines. I'm gonna fold one side and two sides, and we're going to add our tape on the hinges. So I'm just gonna add my tape like this and add my tape on this other side. Okay, and then we are going to grab the smaller size, the 9 by 7.5, and we're going to line these two up, make sure they're even, and there you go. So now I'm going to hold the center and I'm going to take off the tape here. Okay, so make sure that you have it where you need it. Press down on that sticky side and then just continue removing the tape. Then you're going to turn this to the other side. Hold the center down. You don't want your page to end up bubbly like this. So you want to hold this down, get all the air out, make sure it's flat, and then you're going to take off the tape. And there you go. So that's how we're going to make the base page. So for the album, you're going to need 4 of these, and then we're going to work on each one of the pages before we add them into the book.